as I was saying, you guys get to use the graphic calculators up here, which basically means you get the scientific calculators, which means when you type these fractions in, it automatically does the work for you. But I also want you guys to have the background information of how to solve adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing fractions, in case you're ever in a circumstance or a situation where you don't have the scientific calculators. So, adding and subtracting, our first two problems, we have 3/7 plus 2/7. So 3/7 plus 2/7. Now, fractions, they have a top number and a bottom number. Our top number, or numbers, is going to be called the, what's our top number called? Numerator. Our bottom numbers are going to be called the denominator. When you add or subtract fractions, they have to have a common denominator, which means the denominators have to be the same. Well, here are my denominators the same. Are my denominators the same in this first problem? Yeah, they're both 7s. So then I can go ahead and add my numerators. The operation says to add, so if I'm going to add my numerators, what's 3 plus 2? 5. Then you're going to keep your denominator the same. You don't add your denominators together. You keep it the same. So my denominator for this first problem is? So it's 5/7. Now, I always say fractions suck. Suck probably isn't that much of an appropriate word for school or to use in the classroom, but that's okay. You guys are high schoolers. The reason why I say fractions suck because you have to simplify them or reduce them. So you have to think, I always ask, can you simplify it by 2, 3, or 5? So you look here, can you simplify both of these numbers by 2? No, because they're not even numbers. So then you think, can you simplify them by 3? Nope. Then can you simplify them by 5? No, because they don't both end in a 0 or 5. So 5/7 is simplified. So that's going to be your final answer. The second one here is 3/4 minus 2/3. Again, when you add and subtract fractions, they have to have a common denominator. Well, do they have a common denominator here? Or is the bottom number the same? No. So if you type into your calculator 3/4 minus 2/3, what do you get? If you just type that into your calculator, what do you get? 1 over 12. So when you type it into the calculator does all the extra work for you. Now, if you did not have this type of calculator and I gave you just the blue basic calculator, you're going to have to work the problem out. So let's take a look at what that would look like. So we have 3/4 minus 2/3. Now the first thing, as I said, they have to have a common denominator. Well, they don't here. So 4 and 3, you have to think about what least common multiple 4 and 3 shares. So when I say least common multiple, if I have you count multiples of 4, you would go what? 4, 8, 12, 16. If you count multiples of 3, you count 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. What number did 4 and 3 share? What number did I say for both of them? 12. So our common denominator for 4 and 3 is going to be 12. So how you would write that, I go off to each side of the fraction and I put it next to it. Well, now that I have the same denominators, I have to have a new numerator because I can't just change the denominator without changing the numerator. So think to yourself, 4 times what equals 12? So 4 times 3 equals 12. So then whatever I multiply my bottom by, I multiply my top by. So what's 3 times 3? 9. So that's my new fraction for that side. Now I got to do my right side, and I'm going to go through the same process. I have to think to myself, 3 times what equals 12? 4. So if I multiply my bottom by 4, I multiply my top by 4. So it's 2 times 4. 8. So I can get rid of this fraction. Now are my denominators the same? Yeah. So I can go ahead and subtract my numerators. So what's 9 minus 8? 1. My denominator stays the same. 12. So it's the same answer. So calculator, a lot less work, right? But I do want you to understand the basics of how you can get the answer without a calculator. All right. Now when you multiply and divide, so our bottom two problems, when you multiply and divide fractions, you do not have to have a common denominator. All right? So when you multiply fractions, you're going to multiply your numerators, multiply your denominators, and then simplify. So if we multiply straight across, we're going to multiply our numerator. Oops, wrong one. Excuse me. We're going to multiply our numerators together. What's 4 times 2?
8.
Okay, multiply your denominators. 3 times 5? 15. Now again, fractions suck because you have to simplify them. So you look. Do these both end in even numbers? 8 and 5, are those even numbers? No, so it's not divisible by 2. Can you divide it or simplify it by 3s? Nope. How about by 5s? Nope. So this is going to be simplest form. Division is going to be a little bit different. Division, we're going to do what we call KFC. How many guys like KFC? Do you guys like Kentucky Fried Chicken? No? Oh, my kids are obsessed. Braden could eat Kentucky Fried Chicken. No, and I know it's terrible for you, but Braden could eat chicken drumsticks and mashed potatoes with gravy from KFC every single day if I would let him. Which I don't, because I know it's not good for you.
No, it's not that.
Popeyes? Well, the reason why we're going to do KFC for division, it stands for keep, flip, change. So KFC, K keep, F flip, C change. So keep, we're going to keep our first part of our problem the same. So the 2/3, we're going to keep that the same. The F for flip, we're going to flip this number over. So we're going to put the 5/7, we're going to flip it to 7/5. So there's my keep, there's my flip. My change comes in here. I'm going to change the division sign into a multiplication sign. So keep, flip, change. And from there I solve just like I did for multiplication. So I'm going to multiply my numerators. 2 times 7. Anybody?
14.
Okay. Then you multiply your denominators. 3 times 5? 15. Then you go through fractions suck because you have to simplify them because you're not done with them. After all that work, you still have to work with them. Do they both end in even numbers?
No.
Not divisible by 2. Can you divide them by 3?
No.
Nope. Can you divide them by 5?
No.
Nope. So that's your final answer. We're going to box it. Okay. Now we're going to break it down a little bit into 2 days when we get going through our notes here. Any questions on the opener? Okay. Nice job.
Wait,
Oh.